13th, study session. Kyle, you got any public comment? No? Okay. We'll go to the C-Click Fix.
All right. Thank you, Council. So I'll go over the how to use the app. Also, there's a way to put it through the website. And then also there, and I just wanted to show the back end, some of the data that we received through it and the trends so far. All right, so the first step is you download the app. I know Kelly from my office, she puts this out on Facebook quite a bit. I think since the recycling, it wasn't on as much, but we're going to be putting a concerted effort to put this out again. But you can get it through the App Store or Google Play. This allows residents to submit service requests directly from their phone. At the bottom, you'll see there's that. This is what the app looks like. You can pay a little bit extra for a branded app, but this is the standard that we have. You'll be first-time users who create an account using an email address, and then you create a password. So jumping right into it, you open up the app after you've created a username and password, and you tap the new request button. This button is located at the bottom middle of the screen and starts the reporting process. So you can't see my cursor, but if you look in the bottom middle of that screenshot, you'll see new request circle with a cross in the middle. The next step is you can attach a photo of the issue if one is available. This is usually very helpful. Photos help staff better understand the problem. After adding a photo, you go to, let's see, next step.
Do this afterwards.
And then, let's see. Then you choose a location. You can type in the address or you can move the cursor to the exact location. Once the location is correct, tap next in the top right corner of the screen to confirm where the issue is located. Then you're going to select an issue category. So you select the one that best matches your issue. There's also an other, which is a catch-all for all the different items if that aren't listed. Well, if we notice a lot of things being put into other, we can create another category. And it also makes sure that it gets routed to the correct department. You'll add details and submit your request. So this is provide a detailed description of the issue and answer any required questions. Be as specific as possible to help with faster resolution. You can choose how you want to submit your request. You can submit it as yourself, hide your identity, or submit it as a guest if available. Once submitted, it will be sent for staff review. So, and then here's screenshots. So sometimes I'll send them through if I get a report from a resident, but you can look at your account. You can get updates on it from staff, but also you'll see when it's resolved. So it's just kind of a quick way to report an issue. It also kind of eliminates phone calls, but we can also track then, the response times and how quickly they get done. So it's kind of the overview of using the app. The other thing, it's also available on the website as well. I'll just show you that briefly. So if you go to services, whoops, if you hover above services, you'll see service request, powered by C-Click Fix. And if you scroll down, it's similar to the app, but you type in a new request. You could move it around the basic location. You can type it in.
My favorite is how people upload photos
Yes.
of what they're talking about.
That's very
because
helpful.
I can't imagine trying to track down a bush
Yes.
or a sidewalk crack and having, I can imagine that makes our team a lot more efficient.
It does.
But also it provides like a before and after to make sure that that's been rectified.
Yes, no, the picture is very important. I think a lot of people do put in good descriptions, but that leaves any ambiguity out of it, exactly what you're talking about. You put the picture in, that helps
Bill,
tremendously.
my district doesn't have a whole lot of click-it tickets.
So the other thing is you can choose to make them public, so
Okay.
maybe they're not making them public, or maybe everything's just fine there, but you'll see there's, there's a variety of requests, so it depends if they make it public or not. That was one of the things about See-Click Fix before Civic Plus bought them, is they were big on kind of letting everyone know about an issue being out there, and they've kept that when they integrated with our website company.
But does the city know who made the request, or who's put this out there? The name is exposed to the city, correct?
There is some information at the reports, but.
But it's private from,
Yeah, it depends. There's some we can get, there's some, yeah, it depends. There's some where you can be completely anonymous though, but there's probably some identifiable information in the request, but.
Are there other municipalities using this besides us?
Yes, and there's also other customer service request systems like this, or CRMs. So this one is the one that happened to have partnered with our website. And when we did select this one, we did look at a couple others as well, but what made this easy is the integration with our website was more seamless.
So like this add photo feature, you can add 5 here, but when you use the app, you can only add 1.
Can add 5 here, okay.
Yeah. So,
And usually 1 is good. So I didn't know you could add 5 here, but generally 1 photo is very helpful, 1 good photo.
yeah.
it says brush pickup on that other one. Is the brush pickup supposed to be reported from here, or what is our method now for the brush pickup?
So on the truck, they have you can call the number, but we wanted to make it easy.
Just
I also
use
have
this.
the people picking up yard waste, they'll write down if they see one, but the brush pickup's a pretty easy one to take a picture of and send it in, so, yeah. And then we have some frequently asked questions we developed when we first put in the system, so, yeah, so we did some
You can
questions and
you can
answers.
put multiple photos in.
On the app?
Yeah, if you click photo library, you can pick your photos. I just put 4 in and it accepted it. So you can put more than one in.
It's like I got burned on that one
Do you have I had to allow permissions
Yeah.
to access my photo bank in order to put
Yeah.
more than one.
Oh, maybe that's what I needed to do.
I don't know if being an Apple person makes a difference or not, or what your permission settings are. I appreciate you being a guinea pig for this, so that we can make sure that people that are tech not savvy like me can ask questions and hear from what works for other people.
I don't remember what I did. It's been so long.
So, yeah, the website, the app, and, yeah, I haven't received a complaint that they can't add enough pictures, but we can, thanks for checking that, Mayor.
Yep.
Do we have a cost, an annual cost for this, or how does this work?
It was, say roughly, it was like, I think there's an escalator on it every year, but I think it's around 6,000 a year, 7,000 potentially at this point. I can get you that cost.
I think it was.
I'm just
like today it was
curious.
like 5788, so we're around
I
6,000.
like it.
Okay, so 6,000 is what,
I just checked today.
How many people use this about, or how? It's,
so we've had about 1,000 put
Good.
in so far. It's been about, just about 3 years. So let me show you some of the data. So we have started in late 2022, but 23, this was kind of these were all the issues we have. There's been quite a few others that we found, but I went through and looked at categorizing those as well. But there's 23. I kind of look at the top ones, and that brush pickup's been a big one. as well as blight. Pothole requests are a good one, and they're really, pictures really help with that request as well. So 24 created, we had blight again, brush pickup, other, and it looks like tall grass. And then similarly, 25, tall grass, brush pickup, blight. So those are kind of the ones. And then looking at kind of the, here's, some of the raw data, but I went in and then categorized the other into different categories. Brush pickup. So really it is brush pickup, blight, tall grass, a lot of parks and playground requests. So this is kind of, you see something at the playground to fix. There were quite a few of the others that were sign complaints, a lot of miscellaneous public property repair, cleanup requests, like there's a piece of metal sticking out of in an alley or something like that. So, yeah, so I think we'll probably add a sign complaint based on, some of the data, but this is kind of your top 10 is up here.
So taking like the light, noise, odor complaint, how does that work? How do you deal with something like that?
So
You
it
know,
goes
it's-
into other, so that could be stated to be, so for light, if it's a light encroachment, that could be a zoning ordinance violation, so that would be, so really it comes down to, we get another complaint, Kelly in my office will look at it and we'll talk about it, who that goes to, so then she can assign it, say, to the planning department or Jerry to
Okay.
take a look at that. So odor, that'd be something the fire department would look into. Noise would be a police department thing, but we generally tell them to call at the time of the issue. That way, an officer can observe it and write a ticket. But so some of these things, it's important. These aren't, there's suspicious activity, but if something's going on right now that needs to be addressed, they should call either the non-emergency number or 911. So this is for more of an issue that can,
Right.
be handled the next day or a couple days, something like that. So, and then there's subcategories with each of these. Graffiti, it's a different process if it's public versus private property in terms of how it's, addressed. But yeah, this is kind of this is what we've been receiving in the system.
So I've had someone ask me, how anonymous is it? Like if they complain about their neighbor, does their neighbor know?
No, we don't talk to them about who reported it.
It's a good question.
Any other
Anything-
questions or?
Does this integrate with, I know that these are reported by citizens, and our department is working on other things and keeping track of how much time they're allocating for brush or blight. Does this influence, do they work together?
So we've been treating this as another way to get, it's like a phone call or an email. This is more efficient because it goes right to the
Okay.
department that uses it. But there are ways to use this too where, you could have a call center where, however it gets in, email, phone call, it then gets put in the system. We don't use it that way. It's more, if people use the system, it gets in there. And we want to encourage people to use it more because it kind of eliminates a phone call. It's more seamless, and it kind of gets added to the workflow pretty seamlessly.
So it's really about communication, like this is my house, or this is what's happening at my neighbor, here's a picture of it,
Yep.
here's a timestamp. I get a communication back about how it's going to be responded to, whether it's been,
Yes.
whether it's on the list, so I know something is gonna happen. Whereas if I make a phone call, like I leave it with someone and I don't get anything back about it.
Yeah. So you'll get an acknowledgement back, and then kind of as it gets addressed, you'll find out when it closes. So, yeah, it has the follow-up included with the closing, so you'll know it was taken care of. If you go out and you see that, the pothole wasn't filled, you can, resubmit or say, no, I sent that in this date. There's there's a record too of it being sent in, and then I can follow up with department heads follow up with staff, what happened here. So, yeah, it's just another tool for people to report an issue, and yeah, we'd encourage people to use it.
Well, it's a lot more efficient than people seeing me at Jefferson and talking about something that they noticed. So this is really handy. Thank you for spending the time.
Well,
You're welcome.
what I end up doing, because they'll say, and I'll say, use C-Click Flex, and they go, so I say, okay, I'll take care of it. So I'll submit it.
Yeah.
And it's 1, 2, 3, and I know it's always gets addressed, and I always get a reply.
I do the same thing. I
Yeah.
pull up my phone and I say, stand right next to me, see how cool this is.
Yeah.
And like, I hope that they go out into the world and figure out how to get it on their own device.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the paper, so I think we're good.
Do you have this on your phone?
I just got a new phone, but I have played with it in the past.
Okay.
I'm not much of a complainer, so I
You're everywhere. You're all over the city, so you could be like,
See, click, fix,
We're gonna
ambassador.
quiz you next
Boots
week
on
on
the
it, Kyle.
ground.
Get him a name tag.
yeah, we'll get you a hat.
Are we good on this one?
I think so.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, good.
Now we'll move with the budget priorities for Ed and Bill.
Thank you. So I think, well, first, Ed will come up and talk about the budget calendar. Let me see if I can shrink this down.
So I think this has been provided to you, but I wanted to run over. Could you zoom in on that a little bit, Bill?
Didn't we just do the budget?
Yes,
A little, like 100%.
we did.
There we go. So scroll up to the top. So we publish this calendar like this every year, and obviously the date change a little bit, but for the most part, it's been pretty stable for a couple decades. Really, it's kind of a similar process because that's just the time it takes to do the budget. So January is really kind of my time to get into like budget season and start compiling data and getting some information out. Tonight, obviously, is going to be, Bill's going to lead a discussion about council budget priorities. I get information out to the department directors at the end of the month, and that primarily is like all the wage and benefit data that I'm projecting, and then the revenue data. I obviously don't create their budgets, but that gives us an idea of, what our revenues are expected, what our kind of fixed costs are, personnel going to be, and then we have an idea of, what's left to spend on capital projects and operations and what have you. The second section in February, there'll be a presentation of the state of the streets. I don't know that it's February 3rd, or is that what it is now? We moved that back just a little bit. There's an optional council study session, which we don't normally use, but at the end of February is when all of the budget requests are due back to me from the department heads. All their capital items, all of their operational requests, if they have any, additional personnel requests, what have you. That's when I really take that and get that into a format where the department heads can then sit down in early March and go through it and balance the budget so that we can work towards getting a balanced budget to council. And that's normally, I have 3 days penciled in. Actually, March 6th is probably not going to happen. It normally takes like 2 days, 2 full days generally to kind of go through that process. The DDA budget is due to us on March 13th, and then because we have to include that in the city budget, and I've talked to Andrew, he's well on track for that. I do want to back up to March 3rd. That's a really important date. That's when I get the final taxable value estimates from the assessor. So I have preliminary ones up until that point. So sometimes those can change, and that impacts how much money is available. So I work pretty closely with Molly, throughout the year, but particularly January and February, just trying to hone in on those numbers. And then at the end of March, mid-March, after we've kind of gotten that balance, and I work with Bill to put the final budget together. And then that's submitted this year to the public and to council on the end of March. And then April is really council's chance to chew on the budget. So as we normally have, we introduce the budget at the first meeting. There's a budget discussion, work session. There's a public hearing and a second budget discussion. And then in April, we've got an extra Tuesday this year. So there's optional budget discussions. In the past, sometimes those have been used and other times they have not. It just depends on what council's pleasure is. And then the budget adoption is scheduled for May 6th at a regular meeting. And May 15th is the charter date by which the budget must be adopted. So it can't be approved at the second meeting because that would be too late. So I don't know if there's any questions on this. Like I say, it mimics what we've kind of done in past years and seems to have worked fairly well. So that's what we have for this year. If not, thank you.
Good.
So I wanted to share what was provided last year. Council provided their top three. We weighted the scores with their top priority getting 3 points. Public safety was the top item last year, affordable housing, maintain improved services, maintain improved partnerships, Lions Pavilion bathroom, blight, and road maintenance were kind of the top priorities last year. And then I'll show the year before. So public safety, fire vehicles, streets, city services, maintenance, blight. Again, the Lions Pavilion bathrooms, housing, community Wi-Fi, curbside recycling, and assistant city manager 2025. So this was a couple of things. I think since that 2025 to 2026, I think the fire district has gathered a little bit more momentum. Had some communities dedicate some funds to move along that process. 3 communities, Onekama Township, Stronach, and I believe Manistee Township. So we see some more momentum for that going in the next year. So there's some efficiencies with some cost sharing and equipment and personnel. So hopefully that's going to continue forward this next coming year. A couple other things is the streetscape that's being worked on to be bid out. So that for River Street, we talked about that joint session. That's going to be an item this year. And then next year, 2027, it's going to start the US 31 project. That's going to include some water main work from the city. So just a couple topics to consider. Also the amphitheater, we're seeing some momentum on that as well. And it's been discussed too, could a bathroom be shared between, bathroom facility be shared between the Lions Pavilion and a future amphitheater? So just something to consider when you're looking into these topics. With that, I'll open the floor up to council. Can discuss process or.
You know, I read, tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't the state approve additional funding for roads? And how are we gonna handle that? It's like over $1 million, right?
Can address that a little bit. We don't have good hard numbers yet, and it's
Right.
phased in. So we'll just, we'll get the best estimates we can from the state. They're going to be estimates, that's it, because the new sales tax at the pump regime just went into effect in January. But we'll, if the state tells us we're going to expect, let's say 15% more revenue, that'll be reflected in the budget, and the projects will be reflected accordingly.
I guess I'm curious as far as like rainy day reserves. I know we had money after COVID, but do we have anything left?
So the ARPA funds have all been spent.
Yeah.
The fund balance, generally, I think we've used it in the past if there's a grant that needed some additional funding. You're going to see, obviously, with the EDA grant, we use that. I think with this North River Walk, we're probably going to have to use some potential fund balance for that. But yeah, generally we want to use that when we really need to, or to leverage more funding is kind of the idea.
Like the airport thing, that's recent, stuff we don't plan on.
And that one's a little bit different because that's a enterprise fund through the water, but it's, similar with that fund. But that one, the water work is generally, so we kind of project out to all of our water projects. So that one in particular, we're going to be working to address that, but we already have kind of the water, we have rate sufficiency study, and the rates are based on certain projects happening. And so when something like that happens, we have to figure out how to adjust our projects if we're depending on reimbursement.
Like on that PFAS, do we have any idea on that? Some of that makes it so hard to budget.
Yeah, so that's out of the refuse fund, and That one, you're right, we're working with Eagle to get compliance and them to be okay with our plan moving forward. We're getting a couple more data points that they've requested, but you're right, we're trying to meet their requirements and, you know, we're making a good faith effort, but we do need them to, we're hoping it comes to a conclusion this year.
So on the calendar, it said, you know, departments get allocated. How does that work? Because, you know, if you base it on a prior year, you know, maybe that department took a big cut, you know, or you have a number they get.
I don't think it's accurate to say departments get allocated.
Okay,
What I do is I distribute information to the department heads and to the city manager
Okay.
on the information that I have. I don't control their budgets, I don't budget for them, I mean, I
Okay.
help. So that they are aware that, okay, this is what the situation looks like, I need to kind of prepare my budget accordingly. And so they look at trends of what they've done in past years, they look at what future needs are, they look at all kinds of things if they know that there's a project that needs to happen or whatever, and they submit their budget requests through our automated system that we do, our enterprise software.
so
And
they
then
do
we-
their pie in the sky, maybe.
Well, hopefully not. I think
Okay.
I've trained the
Okay.
department heads not to do that. and
All right.
Budgets to come in realistic, because it just makes our
Okay,
job harder to balance it.
Okay.
I think they do a pretty good job with that, but I've also told them, if you have a real need, you need to put it in the budget, because otherwise it doesn't get its due diligence and it doesn't get looked at closely enough. And if that makes, you know, the preliminary budget way over budget, like they might, when the requests come in, I'm talking about the general fund here. Maybe
Okay.
it's 500 or 600 or $700,000 more than what the revenues are. Well, that's where we get together and we have to trim that, because we want to present a balanced budget to council.
Yeah.
Unless, there's been a few times in the past where we've presented a budget that invaded fund balance, but it was for good reason. So that's kind of how that process works. But I don't tell Jeff McCullough that he can only spend X in his budget this year. That's not how it works.
Okay.
If that clarifies.
yeah, that
Yep.
does, that helps. Anything else?
No, I just think that with the corridor work coming in on 31, there's going to be some projects that are going to dovetail in and out of that. The downtown development project, the Gateway, and some other things that, Laney, I agree, just asking about what's in reserve, knowing that that's coming up too. But it sounds like that's being kind of addressed within the general fund. So that was the only question I had, is whether we needed to have some categorical set aside for those things that we know are beyond the 26 budget. So, but I'm satisfied, yeah. Anybody else?
Well, I think, you know, every effort to make, the taxpayers, I think, do want to see cuts always, not a cut in service, of course, but they do want to see the cuts a little bit if they can in the budget. You know, they're very sensitive to that, and I think people are making cutbacks on their own budgets a little bit now. And one of the things, does the attorney have to attend every meeting? Someone asked me that, and I thought, yeah, that gets pretty expensive, and it's not like he has to make a quick decision, or that if it's a very important decision, I would hope that he wouldn't answer it right that night, that he would get back with us. So, you know, and many meetings, there doesn't seem to be something that would take an attorney opinion. And if it does take an attorney opinion, the video is available, he could watch that section of it. But I'm just looking at little things that could possibly save us some money. Just an idea I'm throwing.
Well, I guess we all know it's gonna be a tighter budget than last year's, right? You know, because Ed did state it was tough last year. So I'm sure in the back of your mind, you're thinking already what might have to be cut. So, you know, I'd rather hear about the process, thinking behind it, before I get the book, so I'm like, I know. Because once we get the book, it's already decided. And you know, we have to explain this to the taxpayers. If it's a service or something we're eliminating, or even, you know, police officer. So just kind of knowing a little bit ahead of time, the thought process, I think it would help.
Okay.
We have anything?
No, I'm waiting for the book.
Now, I guess does council want to do that similar exercise where they do a budget priority that I can provide to the department heads to consider? Or, you know, give us your top 3 items again, or do you want to do something differently? I'd probably need this and then we could give you 2 weeks to provide it, or a week and a half, if you'd like.
So I'm trying to remember, wasn't there, you sent us an email, didn't you?
Yeah.
With the choices.
Well, you
But
can
then
do
you
your-
could add things.
Yeah,
Right, so I think I gave you the last year's, and then you kind of, you're not held to certain categories.
Right.
I think we tried to group them as best we could with, you know, so that they would, you know, we could talk about them productively, but I think it gives staff and myself just an opportunity to see where, you know, what you're thinking, what you're hearing from constituents and things like that.
I'm good with it, the process you have. Anybody?
I'd like to see road maintenance go up better because
Well, then you vote for it.
I will.
I agree. I don't feel like I'm the person with the most experience to suggest where budgets should be cut or what we should hold forward or push forward. But I do think, especially when we have data from our citizens, like we just saw, I think we have a pretty good idea of what our citizens are asking for in terms of service to tax ratio. And I think that's where we can be valuable. And I'd love to see that, like, in this format, that we can all look at it and have all of us agree to what is a priority and allow our really capable people to be able to respond to that in the budget as it comes to us, whether it's a decrease in a department or an increase in a department.
And to your point, Councilmember, the parks and playgrounds, I think maintenance, that was a big priority, and you can see it with the requests and the.
Well,
and we
Bill,
added-
I think 30 of those are from my husband and the
Okay.
MRA.
Okay,
I personally may
Full
take a
disclosure.
different, in cross-country, he's on that thing all the time.
but we did add a third parks employee a couple years ago, so that was that just shows you it's a priority, though.
Exactly. I really like having information to make a recommendation for budgeting. And that shows our community that we're listening and we're responding to their input and not just Julia Raditz's opinion of something.
I think we could make a motion to exclude Eric Thummel.
Well, point to that point, he's there all the time.
Yeah, he sees it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's
going on.
That's the value of
Oh,
having
exactly.
this happening, is he's part of a system that's making our parks busy all the time. But yes, I would
You're
support
the one who brought it
that.
up. I was
I
just
would
supporting
support
you.
I would really like the Google prioritization to come out again.
Okay.
And I guess, I don't recall getting the budget calendar. So if you could tell me where to find it?
I don't remember
In
seeing
the
that.
board packet, this one?
Okay, I can resend it. I thought I might have put in a weekly update, or it could have been from Ed, but I'll make sure I send it again, or I'll send it to you.
I don't remember seeing it either, actually.
Okay.
Anything else on this? No, I agree.
And is it okay, maybe having it back a week from Friday? Would that be enough time to perhaps the 23rd? Okay.
Sorry, I wasn't listening to you.
Sorry, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, I was asking if we had it back by the 23rd, if that would be enough time for council?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll get
It's for the top 3 priorities.
the top 3?
Yeah.
That'll work, okay. Thank you.
We're just gonna pick the top 3 from what you have here. We're not gonna
You could deviate if you'd like to, you could add others, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have any budget appropriations in for next year yet? Or is that coming yet?
No, not yet. Yeah, the departments will, what do you mean by that? I'm
Like
sorry.
the RRCA, or the appropriation.
Oh, I know, okay. Those have not come in yet.
When do
So,
those due?
I believe April or March.
Normally, Kelly will send out a notification to them when we get them back sometime in February.
Okay,
February, okay.
because that's included in the budget, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything else on the budget? No? Okay. Does anybody else have anything to add? No? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Oh,
Make a motion.
we're adjourned.